Okay, so this is test 3 review, question 71 to 74. So this question 71 says simplify. And when I look at this, I can't make it any more simple, but what they're saying is rationalize the denominator. So we want to get rid of the radical sign on the bottom. Okay, rationalize the denominator just means getting rid of the radical sign on the bottom. So I'm going to separate it. So see how we have a radical sign on the bottom? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to times it by the exact same thing on the top and the bottom. Because remember, same over same is equal to 1. So I'm really just multiplying this by 1. So root 6x times root 6x is just 6x. And because these both are square roots with a 2 here, I can put them under the same radical sign. I just put them under the same radical sign. And 5 times 6 is 30. So there's my answer. So it doesn't really seem more simple, but they seem to like no radical sign on the bottom. Okay? So let's look at the next one. Simplify the expression. So this has no number here, so really there's a 2. So I'm going to separate the top and the bottom. Like this. So now because there's a 2 here, I need groups of 2 to be able to take things out. So really, I can take out one group of x's, but the little x there has to stay. So I can take one group out, but one x stays underneath. Now the y's, so I need groups of 2. So one y has to stay, but I can take out 4 groups of y. Now in the bottom, because there's nothing here, it means there's 2, so it's a square root. And there's 2 z's underneath. And if I can take out a group of 2, which leaves nothing under the radical sign. And so I just have z. So if there's nothing under the radical sign, I don't need to write it. So let's just write that so we can see it more clearly. And that's it. So this tells you the size of the group to be able to take things out from underneath the radical sign. So next, now we have groups of 3. So to take things out, I need groups of 3. First I'm going to separate it. Well this, let's do 64. 64 is 2 times 32. 2 times 16, 2 times 8, 2 times 4, and 2 times 2. So I need groups of 3. There's a group of 3, and there's a group of 3. Ah, so the third, so I can take out 2 groups of 2. I can take 2 groups out, so I take 2 groups of 2 out, which is really 4. Oh, maybe I could have used my calculator. Let's just use the calculator. 4. So 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Well, 2 squared is 4. It's the same thing. So I didn't have to do this. I could have just used my calculator. And here, I'll have the third root of x. Oh. But if I put this in my calculator, or I put this in my math lab, they will not like it, because there is a radical sign on the bottom. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite it over here so I have more space. So I have to multiply the bottom by something to be able to get rid of the radical sign. Well, because it's a third root, it means I need a group of 3. I need a group of 3 to be able to take it out, but I only have one x. That means I need 2 more x's. So I'm going to use the same root, and I'm just going to give it 2 more x's. So if I put those together, I can write them under the same radical sign, like that. You don't need to write that step, okay? But if I multiply the bottom by this, I have to multiply the top by this, okay? Which is really 4. Okay, that 3 stays with the radical, and 2 x's are x squared. And here, the third root of x cubed, well, that's just the opposite. This and this cancel each other out, so I'm left with x. And on the top I have 4 with the third root of x squared. So it's hard to remember that when you finish a question, like we separated everything, did everything we needed to do, and if I put this in my math lab, we would say, no, it's wrong, because there's a radical sign in the bottom. So I need to rationalize the denominator, which means get rid of the radical sign down here. And because this is a third root, that means I need to have a group of 3 to be able to take something out. So here I have only 1 x, so I need to give it 2 more x's. But if I multiply the bottom by this, I have to multiply the top by the same thing. So you can see this is a third root and a third root, so I can stick them together. And it makes opposites, almost kind of opposites here. And that's a group of 3, so I can take it out. Well, and this is just messy. But somehow, my math lab and other people go, wee, I like that. Okay, next one. So now this says I need a group of 10 to be able to take stuff out. Okay. So, a group of 10. I don't know what they're talking about. Just a second.